Wow. Okay, so you
Sorry,
guys,
deep thoughts, deep thoughts.
super awesome deep thoughts. So that you guys, that is the end. VMGM Vagabond Media. Good morning, and so take a deep breath. Welcome to the Web3 Writers Hour. I'm CD Damitio. I'm joined by co-hosts Edward Carpenter, Rionna Morgan. We've got our friends Odd Writings, Indefatigable, Donaldson, Authored Style here. And of course, if you're here on the space, you see me, CD, also as well as the Vagabond Media uh, icons, profiles. So I want to hand it over to Edward Carpenter. I know you've got a lot to talk about this week on the Web3 Writers Hour. So I just want to hand it to you, sir.
Thank you. I guess the first thing that I would mention is that we had a really successful event. What I thought was a successful event in our group. We competed, I think, in the last month of last year in the the T2 Friends Who Write Challenge, and we ended up winning it, and that was nice. So I got my winnings deposited, and what I'd committed mentally to doing with them is to give that back to the community. And the way that I'm intending to do that is to use my share to essentially buy up. I think it's about 30 copies of the Arts and Poetry, Volume 2 journal. I could do Volume 1, I guess, as well. Maybe I'll split it half and half. And those will be gifted to 30 or so lucky contenders. Anybody who's interested in arts and poetry. And that will do two things. One, it will hopefully get arts and poetry into more people's hands and accounts. But what it'll also do is to make sure that some of my good fortune trickles down to people around the world, in Brazil and Turkey and Kenya, my distributed network of friends. So anybody who was a contributor to one of those two volumes will see a little bit of Tez magically appear in their account. And I guess I will see a little bit magically appear in my account as well. And then hopefully we'll see, maybe some interest in this project picked up. So I'll try and post something up in the nest. I'm throwing Cosmo's doing an art tank again this week. This is a good time. I just started about 3 hours ago. So I'll post it in there. And yeah, interested to see what will happen.
Edward, on that, I'm curious about the people that you were thinking of giving away, or you want to give away copies of the Arts and Poetry magazine to certain individuals. It'd be kind of neat if those individuals were themselves publishers of some sort, so that they could come across some of the content within the article and hopefully recognize some talent.
That's a great idea. If you have any recommendations, and especially if you happen to know their Tez address, definitely worth a DM to me, probably, or maybe some chat in our Arts and Poetry project DM chain. But I think that's a great idea. And happy to take any ideas on board. I think I'm going to commit to give 10 away to anybody who interacts with the post on Cosmo's thread. But then there'll be 20 more copies that we can figure out what's the best way to, again, reward those who are interested and interact, and also those who might be influencers. So if you have any idea, or also any other ideas.
So I have one idea, and my idea is I would love someone to write a review of Arts and Poetry 1 and 2 for the next issue of Vagabond Magazine. I would love to have that in there. I can't commit to writing it myself, but if someone wants to write a review and get it to us, that would be amazing. We'd love to feature it. We'd love to, to help promote it, and hopefully to let people know about this amazing resource and the amazing artists and writers that have contributed to it.
Send it to me. I'll take care of it.
That would be great, ER. If you drop me your Tezos address, I will make sure that I get you a copy of each.
Will do. Thank you.
Reviewer's copy. I think this is the first time for Arts and Poetry.
Woohoo! That's
Ooh,
awesome.
and famous.
Okay. So moving on a little bit, like we talked about this in the VMGM, and that is the seeming demise of Riedel. We hope that that's not true and it doesn't come to play, but it does leave a hole in our hearts and also a hole in our options to publish in Web3. Rionna, I wanted to ask you. I know you were working with Karsten and Creatokia most recently out of all of us. Have you heard anything from them? What do you know anything about what's going on with Creatokia or what they're doing?
Hi everyone. I'm Rionna Morgan. Let's see. So I don't have really enough information to say with any certainty, but I do believe they're transforming a little bit into some more uh, digital audio versions of works. And so I don't know what that's going to entail, but I believe that they're still going strong. I believe that they still have books and literature and things at the forefront of their thought process. But I believe that they're also transitioning a bit to pull in some of the audio versions of these works. And so I need to get back in touch with them and get back in contact with them, and get that project rolling again, because I just kind of took some time transitioning to the new year. And so I just haven't been back, and I just need to get back in touch with them. And Edward, I love the your idea and for spreading love for arts and poetry around. I'm an honored participant. I'm honored contributor to both of those editions, and I just really think that that's just a beautiful use of the winnings. And I have been trying to brainstorm what I would like to do with my winnings, and I definitely want to put it back into the Web3 literary community. And I don't know if I want to do something um, where we can all pool together our energies and our passions to help other people be more informed about Web3 and Web3 writing and the different opportunities that exist in the space. And so I have a couple of ideas percolating, which we'll maybe talk about in the coming episodes.
Oh my gosh, Rihanna, you're gonna do us like that? Come on, you can share a little bit, right?
I can. I mean, so one of them you've heard over and over because I keep talking about it, and it's to do a Web3 writers like retreat, or a Web3 writers maybe virtual retreat, or a Web3 writers, I don't know, a conference, because there's so many of us who have such experience in not only traditional publishing, but also Web3 publishing, and what we can do as writers to come together to work together. And so that's where my immediate thought was, is like, oh, I want to do that. And anything that you do that's large scale like that takes capital, and having the little bit of winnings, that ended up in my wallet, I think, oh, that would be great. I would love to sponsor, host, help, create whatever, if Vagabond Magazine and Page Dow wanted to partner to bring this about. I don't know, I'm putting everybody on the spot with this idea, but that's just what I'm thinking. So yes, please.
So in-person conference, totally up my alley. And I was unfortunate to miss out on the opportunity for the Web3 Writers Union, but Mythic North would co-sponsor. I would love that. I would love to meet you guys in person, and I think it's a brilliant idea.
I gotta say, as much as Hawaii is like always like, oh, we should do it in Hawaii because it's beautiful, but it's so expensive to get here, and it's so freaking expensive in Hawaii. So, I think if we do something like that, I've never I've been to Michigan, but only briefly, but I've never been to Detroit, and I've got family history in Detroit. So maybe the place to set that up would be in Detroit, like it's sort of central. It would be a place where everybody could go. Just a thought. Maybe Michigan and Detroit.
If you were going to do it in Michigan, you would want to do it in Grand Rapids or Traverse City. Detroit is overrated, but I would be happy to coordinate. I actually do a lot of event planning in my job. I'd be more than happy to facilitate. If I could have all you brilliant minds in one room, it would be worth the effort.
It's amazing what happens on this space. Okay, so I'm going to change gears just a little bit. Edward, during VMGM, you brought up Snow Crash, which we had talked about discussing on Web3 Writers Hour in the past. So I bought a copy, and I'd read it a long time ago, and I started reading it, and I was like, okay, I'm going to read one chapter, and then I'm going to write about what I think about the chapter, and then I'll wait until after we talk about it. But I started reading it, and I honestly couldn't wait. And I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I've been binge reading it, and such an amazing book, but also in such a sort of dated style. Has anybody else started reading Snow Crash yet since we talked about this?
I mean, Snow Crash is just the seminal book, aside from my friend William Gibson, Neil Stephenson. It's like the forefather of the metaverse. It's like everything. I wanted to be Hero, the protagonist, when I was a kid, so it changed my life.
Indy, if there's anybody among us that is hero protagonist, it's you. All right, so Edward, geez, I was hoping maybe we could talk about this. So you guys, Epic Dylan, when he was on here with us, when we talked about this, he said that Snacks, SNAX, the founder of Pizza DAO, will actually give people a copy of Snow Crash if they haven't read it. So if you want to read Snow Crash and be part of the conversation, you should reach out to Snacks, find him, and see if that's true. I can't guarantee that he'll give you a copy. And I got to say, Rionna, Edward, you guys make me feel like I should do better things with my part of the winnings from the Web3 Writers Union. But I did pay gas fees to get all of your winnings to you guys. That wasn't too much. It's like $25, and I'm also going to continue paying the hosting and stuff like that for Vagabond Magazine. So not nearly as noble, not nearly as big as what you guys are doing, but man, you guys are inspiring. You guys make me into a better person just by being around you both and hearing you, and not just you two, but everyone that's here. So thank you so much for that. Edward, what are your thoughts on Stevenson's style in Snow Crash? Have you had any issues with that style? Has it been hard for you to follow it all?
No, actually, I love it. It is one of the things I really like about his work, and it develops even more, I think, as it goes on. I think he starts with just these kind of weird, random people doing weird, random things, or sometimes very generic people. I think Reamed, he has like a guy is just going to his family Christmas in the Midwest, which is terrible. But there's also a terrorist, a very charismatic terrorist who's off doing charismatically terrorist things, and there's a spy, and these people seem very disconnected, yet somehow in the end he brings it all together, and in a pretty marvelous way, and really makes you think. He puts the thinking into the book as well, and kind of lures you in. So I don't have a problem with the style. I actually enjoy it, maybe aspire to it even. But I will say that if you're finding it a slog through the book itself, I'm currently just listening to it on Audible whenever I'm driving around. And it's a very well-made audiobook, very well-voiced, and interesting sound effects, a little bit old school. But nope, actually, that's something I enjoy is his writing style. That said, I also really enjoy William Gibson. Can never go wrong with him.
Okay, so I think my issue with the style is and maybe this doesn't come through in the audiobook version, but in the written version, he's using this style. It's very like late 1980s, early 1990s of like making just everything into an acronym. Like there's just so many acronyms, so many letters and initials that I actually end up sort of getting a little bit lost in all his inventive acronyms. And and maybe that's just because I'm old and my brain doesn't function as well as it used to. But go ahead, Edward.
Maybe it's because I spent so long in the Marines and the UN and various parts of the world that really love to use their acronyms. But yeah, just that was actually one of the things I just finished the final revisions on the book that I'm writing about the my time with the UN, and one of the things was so many of we just always used acronyms even in daily life, and to try to explain to some of the beta readers that well, we never called that guy. We always just called him the FC, and everybody knew that was the force commander. And they're like, well, but that doesn't make sense. And then we're like, yeah, and the WFP and the FAO, and we're going to go over and see the SPLA. It was just the way things were, and then you have to, maybe I actually have to spell some of these things out. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm resistant to the virus of the acronyms in his thing. Where I thought it gets a little bit dense is there's this one point where he is talking to an AI, and this is actually extremely precognizant. He essentially invented ChatGPT in his librarian AI that can answer everything but can't do context really well, and yeah, at some point, the AI is just telling him about these gods of Sumer, and this one goddess has like 7 different names. She's called this by these people and that by those people, and she's good to some, bad to others. And it gets really in depth there. But yeah, I guess you love it or hate it. But for me, it's all about the ideas. There are some really deep and good ideas that are worth resetting your brain with from time to time. And the fact that it holds up after, God, 20 some years, interesting.
Hey, I haven't seen it, but sounds right up my alley. You know, more of a reader than a Web3er. Somebody please send me this work because it sounds amazing.
Yeah, ER. I'll send you the details on that one. It's Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson. He's the one who actually invented the term metaverse in this novel. So that's where the term metaverse comes from, is from this novel. So I didn't do this on purpose, you guys, but the conversation that we're having right now is a perfect opportunity for me to tell you that lately I have been publishing my unreleased novel, Hassan Isaba, which is the story of the 10th century warlord in the Middle East, who the leader of the Hashishans. I read you guys part of it before, so I've been publishing it on Scent as an audiobook. It's unreleased, and I've been publishing it on Scent. And right now, at the top of my profile, that's the CD Gmonk profile, you'll find chapter 8 of this. And this chapter is crazy because it's less about the story of Hassan Isaba, but it's more about understanding the complexities of the religious and political world that he exists within. And if you're interested in comparative religion, if you're interested in the politics of the Middle East, Europe, Islam, Christianity, this will be a really interesting chapter to listen to. And as always, it's free to listen to. You can just go there. You don't have to buy it. They're $1.99 a chapter. If you want to support me and the work that I do, awesome, buy it. But so far, I think 1 chapter has sold. That's it out of all of them. So I'm on like chapter 10 now, but hopefully people are listening. That is one complaint I have about Scent, is I don't have any way to see how many people have listened. And since I'm not seeing comments or anything, it could be anywhere from 0 to, maybe it's already an audio favorite among people. I don't know. But I would love if you guys went and listened to it, and I think you'll enjoy it, actually. It's a pretty doggone good book. And in terms of Neil Stephenson, maybe I get as in the weeds as I felt like he did with this particular chapter. So if you like that, go give it a listen.
So CD, just to verify, that's vagabond.scent.co, correct?
That is correct. It's vagobond.scent.co. And I really didn't come on here to shill my work, but since I have shilled my work, I want to open it up to you guys. who else would like to shill their work here? We're Web3 writers. We all have work to shill. So why don't you guys go ahead and do some shilling?
I'll shill. I'll happily shill. I have so I started. I write these poems. You guys know palindrome word unit palindrome poems, and so I started a new one. My cat breaks into vowels, and the poem's all written because I always have the poem written first before I actually write the book, and so most of it is like connecting everything together. So if you go to my scent profile, which is oddwritings.scent.co, you'll see that I'm going to start putting free NFTs there. And if you collect enough of the NFTs, then I'll put your name and any website you want in the supporters page within the physical book. This is what I did with the previous book. It can't be, you can't put a website that has that's like a bookstore because the Amazon won't allow it. And the same thing with an NFT marketplace for weird reasons. But in any case, it's a way that I use to sort of drum up interest in the book. So that's my shill.
I'll go ahead and show myself. Like it's so Mythic North Press was originally launched to publish my works, but it's become so much more than that. We published a brilliant anthology with a lot of the people here present contributing. But we also brought on 2 more authors recently for novels that will be released. One of them will definitely be released in 2024. The other we're targeting for early 2025. So if you haven't yet subscribed to our newsletter, go to mythicnorth.com and subscribe to the newsletter. I'll keep you updated on all the current developments that are coming forward this year.
Edward, you don't got to raise your hand.
Not a shill from me, but ER. I actually have a friend, another former Marine, PJ Way. We had a conversation, I think, right before the end of the year about publishing. Are you doing these strictly as Web3 offerings, or is it going to be that Mythic North puts it out in Web3 and paperback in EPUB, etc.? Or are you strictly focused on Web3? Because I think he's looking for a publisher, and maybe you're the kind of publisher he would be interested in.
They're a combination. Like it's, to be honest, it's upon review, it's $1,000 advance, and then 80% royalties after that, both Web 2 and Web 3. So yeah, definitely send me his contact info. I'd love to meet him.
Okay, I will arrange a virtual introduction. He's a good guy and has done some interesting stuff on Web3. So my guess is his writing quality is pretty good, but obviously publishers have to determine that for themselves. The only shill I guess I would do is I did throw a link up in the nest. It's just to my reply to Cosmo's latest art tank, but it does feature the arts and poetry. It does feature the fact that whether or not Cos and Xcopy and Rollbit collect a copy, we'll be giving away 10 copies to people who interact with that tweet, and we'll see if we can get a little bit of interest going. So if anybody wanted to do something for my shill of the morning, it would just be to interact with that and try and get some momentum. I think that X kind of shadow bans me because I'm too neurodivergent for X. I tweet about politics and Web3 and kittens, and I don't think the algorithm knows where to put me.
So that's an interesting point, Edward. I don't know if you saw recently I posted something. I think that we've all been siloed by association, not necessarily with you, not necessarily with me, but I think that a great many of us have been siloed by association with Web3 stuff on X. And I'm not positive about that, but it does seem to be the case that that a lot of the people that see my posts are also having the same thing with people not seeing their posts except me and some others. So it does seem to be like a silo situation. While we're talking about publishers, I want to give Rionna Morgan the chance to talk about Whitney Morgan Publishing, which is her publishing arm. Left arm or right arm? I don't know. Rionna, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, Whitney Morgan Media is up and running here in the new year, and it is a publishing company that really focuses on celebrating and honoring the writer. And it is bridging the gap from traditional publishing in Web 2 and the publishing in Web 3. And so, Whitney Morgan Media also has a merchandise store called Story, where anyone who publishes with Whitney Morgan Media gets a series of their own within the store, and it's for writers by writers. And so, really, it's just this experience for a writer coming in wanting to publish in the traditional sense as well as in Web3, but they get to tailor what they want for their own wishes. They get to say, oh, yes, I would like this book here and I would like this art here. Or, it really is something that really celebrates the author and what they're hoping for and what they're wishing for. And so it's had some really great first publishing publications, and it publishes worldwide in audio book, ebook, and paperback, and also will hopefully, when PageDAO is up and racing around, as we're all dreaming, it will partner with PageDAO as a place for people to have a settling spot where they can be centralized in the Web3 space as well, and acquire fans there and connection with their readers and other writers in the Web3 space. And so, yeah, it's so exciting, and it's really by word of mouth. I have not advertised at all, and I have more writers than I know what to do with currently. So it's very exciting, and I'm so looking forward to all of the amazing things that we're going to do, and I can't wait to talk with Donaldson, and maybe we can do some partnership work there and really help change the face of publishing so that people have a place to be that honors them and celebrates them. And so that's what I am all about. So thank you very much.
Well, I got to say that, Mythic North Press and Whitney Morgan Media and Vagabond Media Group, there is some partnership stuff happening there. We've got a little anthology we're putting together and figuring out the details on. So we won't go too much into the details of that. But I did notice when I went to the story, there was already some PageDAO merch there. Indefatigable, would you please update us on the latest and the greatest of PageDAO and what people can do to be involved, where they should go, what they should look at? On the spot.
I'm going to say definitely go to pagedao.org. Get a membership NFT if you can. This is pure alpha. Definitely see about what liquidity options you might want to do on, now we're on multiple chains. And stay tuned. That's cryptic. I'm sorry.
We're going to change your name to Indefatigable, maybe. Edward Carpenter, why don't you round us out and fix that horrible statement that I just made somehow?
So, Indy, just a really quick question. If we already hold one of the original tokens, does that token carry out for all years, or do we need to purchase a new card every year? And I know we're running a little over. I'll pass it back to Vagabond for the GM and the Aloha in 1 second.
Tokens are good forever when you purchase a membership. Yep.
Awesome.
PageDAO is forever.
CD, do you want to close us out?
I am happy to close this out. So, you guys, some of the greatest concepts in the world come from the beautiful island nation of Hawaii, which is a state, but was a nation and really should be a nation. But we're in the middle of the Pacific. We're standing here thousands of miles from everywhere, and there's this concept of aloha. It means we all breathe the same air. It means hello. It means goodbye. It means all kinds of love. The 7 kinds, maybe 8, 9, 10 kinds. But when we say aloha, what we're saying is we're one and the same, and we're all together in this, this life that we're in. So we like to close out the VMGM Web3 Writers Hour with everybody just opening their mics and saying aloha. So we'll do it at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Ah, great to catch up with you guys, and I'm so glad to be here again. Thank you all for coming, and I'm going to close out the space. So glad to be here again. Thank you all for coming, and I'm going to close out the space.